But basically, let's fast forward to now. How are things like now?
You know, uh, things now like the weather, right? Or the climate is much more calm, right? Initially through the separation, it like the conversations wouldn't be too great, and but now we're very amicable, I suppose. We can talk on the phone. We can without any issues. She might give me a little like playful crap about anything that I've
Mm.
changed about myself recently, but uh
But
no,
that's an endearing kind of playful thing, right?
I think so.
Like my partner does that too all the time. Like when I was changing, she would kind of poke fun at something I did in the past. Oh, you used to have
Right.
road rage. Remember when you used to do this? So embarrassing, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's a compliment to me because it's saying like I'm not that anymore. Like I'm so far from that now that I can make jokes about it. That we can make jokes about it. That's good. That's a good place to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. She like I take a trip in a couple weeks and she's like, you're going on vacation? You would never take off work, blah 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 blah. Or nice shoes. Who are you?
Yeah.
Like and I don't know, but it's all there's no tension when we see each other. It's just we have our separate, or like our lives basically that we're living, and we still ask each other like how have you been, all that kind of stuff, talk like and where it goes from here is we'll see.
Yeah.
There's not moments where I leave like talking to her and thinking that where it ruins my day. I'm not losing sleep over where we are in our relationship, and I'm sure she's doing the same. So uh
So there's a couple of three like big takeaways that I want people to have at this point, right? Number one is note that Sean joined the program June. Now we're recording in November. This is barely 5 months, right? And we're talking about your partner having the most negative kind of like bias about you. She was scared. She was so scared of you to the point where she had to meet in a public place to tell you some difficult truth, difficult news, because she was that scared, kind of thing. That's the negative bias we're talking about. And for us to undo that negative bias within like 5 months to where you are now, that's fucking amazing, right? The second thing we need to acknowledge here is that, you know, every time we have a interview with one of our clients, there's never a point of reconciliation. People obsess about this point of reconciliation. But even for me, 8 years in, right? If I was to ask myself, like, what was the point of reconciliation? I don't fucking know, right? It's like, imagine you have this big flywheel, and this big flywheel is not spinning very fast in this one direction. And someone asks you, like, at what point did this flywheel spin so fast? I'm like, I don't know. Each spin that I made it faster and faster. It was just gradual. It was just, there's no finish line. There's no like point of reconciliation here, right? Um, so I think people, coaches who try to say, we have an 85% reconciliation rate. That's fucking bullshit. How do you even measure that, right? Are you measuring instances where people reconcile but then like die again? I mean, how do you measure a point of reconciliation? Because like even if you reconcile, it's not like your life and relationship will be beautiful forever, no fighting, no conflicts, no baggage, no past trauma. You're still gonna have that, right?
right.
Because to me, the point that you guys are in now is the point where you have established that safety enough to the point where the problems may still be there, and the problems will always be there, but you guys now have the trajectory to actually turn those problems into something good, right? Well, back then it was just lack of safety, catch 22, boom, right? That to me,
Right.
once a relationship establishes that point, that to me is reconciliation, because to me, reconciliation is when you change the direction of where your relationship is going, right?
Agreed. Yeah.
Mm. The third
And
one,
honestly,
oh, go ahead. Yeah,
okay.
go ahead. Yeah, please.
Honestly, I know it was, and it's crazy too. Like when you go through this program, is like I'm hoping for those moments where like she's gonna say something that like that she has her issues. I'm hoping that she brings them up. You know, like you. Whereas before, I almost I almost I always told myself I was not confrontational, and
Mm.
like dealing with conflicts where was like it really took a toll on me. Like I I felt I thought I told myself in my head like I try so hard to do things correctly, both wherever in whatever I do, whether it's at home or at work, just so that I don't have to deal with conflicts. And then the second those happen, it really like I'll try to solve them, but then afterwards it really like it's like I'm shaking because I didn't I didn't want to have to deal with that. I woke up in the I'll wake up in the morning and be like, all right, I hope today goes well, and the second it doesn't, it's just like, damn it, like, and but now it's like you through the program you learn like that, stuff shit's gonna happen, and you know what, you're gonna thrive and you're gonna be just fine. Everything you'll use the knowledge that
Yeah.
you picked up here and be able to turn it in a way where you'll be proud of yourself,
And
and
that's really the most beautiful feeling, right? Like, and that's kind of the third point I want to bring up too is, the moment when life becomes and relationships becomes really fun is when you have enough confidence in your own like processes in your own states to know that you're driving it, right? So, for example, like, when was the last time you felt nervous about? Actually, let me take a step back, right? There's this really great quote. Forgot who it's from, but like he says, "You could take away all my money today, and I wouldn't be scared because I know how to make them back. So I don't worry about money. I don't really care about money because I know I can always get it back. I can always manufacture my success." And think about what it's like to apply that to like a relationship setting, right? I don't really care about where my relationship is right now. I don't really care about, to be honest, like what crazy shit will happen in the short term, because whatever crazy shit happens in the short term, I know I can turn that negative into a positive. I know I can drive it to a positive place always. And in 5 years, in 3 years, in 10 years' time, I know we'll be at a better place. We'll always be at a better place. That level of confidence, that's where you can live a life of like true relaxation in a way, right? It's just like, I don't need to be anxious all the time. And in fact, when you come to life with that sense of relaxation, that's when you can be creative enough. That's when you actually manufacture better outcomes naturally, because you're coming from not from a place of fear or scarcity, but abundance and hope and inspiration, stuff like that. And that's what I think what you're describing, right? That feeling of like,
right,
I know I'm driving the ship.
yeah, you're not just you're not just along for the ride, I suppose, right? Like, and yeah, I'm
Yeah.
hoping for those moments, and I'm excited to see who I am to that one, that can handle those. So
Yeah.
I'll be
And,
like my
I want to like stress how important that is, right? Because, you know, I said this to like a few clients before who they would they would do some things right sometimes, but they would do a lot of things wrong often. And I said this to them, right? If you have no control over your emotions, if you have no control over what you say and do, like you are not in control 100% of the time, you can never create full safety and trust. Because to be honest, right? Even if you make a promise, let's say, I will not get angry next week, or I will do this next week. How can people trust that you will actually do it when what you feel, what you think about, what you do often is driven by emotions, by erraticism, right? You sometimes lose yourself. If you lose yourself, your promises, your words means nothing to people, because
right,
now the promises you make, the words you say, is not in your control. So it's not in your control whether you can deliver and meet those promises or not, because you're not in the hands. You can't control what you do, you know. So this fact that you can actually control you, that is going to be the biggest asset for you to create safety. Because people now can trust if he says something, he's in control of whether he delivers that thing or not. See what I mean?
Yeah.
That's fucking big.
Yeah, big change from hopefully before,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
you say something bad, then they'll respond and say something bad, and then and then it just keeps going and building on top of each other. And it's like I can say something worse than you.